draft. That was
the Raw versus SmackDown edition of the draft, where it was like a Raw versus SmackDown guy, and whoever wins gets the selection.
Yeah, and it's fun because even though you have a clue of who's going where, you still get that 15 seconds of who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be?
It's like the Royal Rumble effect. You think
like
you've got a rough idea of what's going to happen, but there's still the presentation is still fun.
Exactly. Instead of, oh, this random guy just shows up. Hey, I'm here now. The way that they did the shake-up the first time, I didn't like it because I was hoping it would be something like that. Like a random, it's going to be a bunch of big names because it's the first one, but it'll be like randomized and all that throughout the show instead of 4 people came out at once and did that. So, but I don't, very skeptical because of everything that we've mentioned so far. I don't know how I feel about the NXT thing because who are you going to bring down? Who are you going to bring up? That kind of deal. Like normally you have a clue of who's doing what. Not here. And so it's like, what kind of name power would they be bringing down to NXT? If it's just guys like Kurt Hawkins and that, like, it's like, okay, what was the point of that?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was attempting to illustrate here.
And with what you were saying before, Fool, about like if Kurt Hawkins goes down and basically starts at square one, starts brand new, starts to refresh his character, I honestly think Dolph Ziggler should do the same. Because once again, I'm on that boat that Dolph should be moved to NXT, but mainly just to it's like he's a name for WWE, and he needs something. He needs to basically start something new and fresh with his character, and NXT is the perfect stage with the smaller crowd to basically not fully start brand new, but to basically
test out
something new for his character.
Right, and functionally, everyone who would go down to NXT, who's an established veteran from the main roster, would be doing that. The difference is between Ziggler and Kurt Hawkins, just 2 different tiers of wrestlers who've gotten to 2 different places on the main roster. The function is the same, but the story, the plot is different. Ziggler he's definitely going to be freshening up his character, but he might do that in a different way, whereas he'll come out right out of nowhere and challenge either Bobby Roode or Drew McIntyre right out of the gate. Whereas someone like Kurt Hawkins, they're already at the bottom. So their story or storyline is going to be, I'm already at the bottom. I cannot sink any lower. I'm climbing my way all the way back up to the top, and now I'm hungry. Maybe that can even mean a face turn for Kurt Hawkins. Again, the function is the same. You're obviously going back. You're obviously you're freshening up these characters, but you're just going to be doing them in different ways that's appropriate for the spot that they're in right now.
I don't see them doing anything like that with Kurt Hawkins. I just think he's going to be stuck in the space that he's in now,
and maybe not.
And the one person who I actually can see be put in the situation you were just explaining for Kurt Hawkins, Apollo Crews.
Right, and again,
he has a better chance of actually starting brand new and actually building something that more than Kurt Hawkins is.
And I totally agree with you. But again, that wasn't truly the point. The point I was trying to make was this is just one of many different possibilities that can come from a superstar shakeup like this that we generally agree will be happening sometime after SummerSlam. And that's just my case of why I'm not ready to throw this out or discount it just yet.
I'm just, like I said, I was in it for me too soon, but I am intrigued.
Yeah, obviously time will tell with all of this, so we'll just have to tune in and see. Speaking of tuning in, there's still a lot of wrestling this week. especially with Monday Night Raw.
Nice addition leading into Raw versus SmackDown Live.
SmackDown Mall.
Diggity dog.
Break it. Yes. Anyway, yeah. Going into SmackDown, I sort of turned. It was one of those weeks where I just turned on Raw absentmindedly, and then all of a sudden, okay, Brock Lesnar's here. Okay, he's here to do business. Seriously,
it actually is really funny because when Kurt Angle first came out, he basically did the one thing that people have been complaining they've been doing on Raw and SmackDown a lot recently, just having an authority figure come out, greet everyone, hope you enjoy the show, moving on. I like the fact that Brock and Paul Heyman, no announcement, they just was like, okay, we're here, and we are going to basically put our foot down.
I know what you're doing.
I
see you.
I see what you're doing.
But this actually leads credence to the rumors that after SummerSlam, Brock Lesnar is done and heading back to UFC. That's a rumor that's been going around. This actually lends credence to it. The question is this the WWE feeding into the rumor, or is this actually happening?
When it comes to someone like Paul Heyman, it's hard to really answer that because, in my personal opinion, I think they're using it just to feed the rumors. Like, I think he will still show up in UFC. He threw his name into the, what's the word? The bowl. I'll just say the bowl.
The testing pool, whatever.
The testing pool.
Yeah.
That's
and there's also the possibility that they ran out of dates and this next set of dates doesn't come up until WrestleMania season again. So,
exactly.
Yeah, I lost the title. I'm out, but he'll come back.
Exactly. I'll just still be in contract with WWE. I'm just doing something in between.
But for all storyline purposes, he gone. But I like how they worked it in with the rumors going around and all that. Whether it's true or whether they're playing with it. It was a good. It's a talking point. Going into SummerSlam, finally something to talk about.
Plus, it's a testament to the skills of Paul Heyman. Let's be real.
Yeah, finally something to talk about this pay-per-view. But okay, we hadn't watched SmackDown yet, so I was not looking forward to SummerSlam before this week. I'll say that much right there.
Yeah, but we'll get to all that.
But with Brock Lesnar, that was the first time where I was like, oh. Something to talk about. Something to speculate going into SummerSlam.
I just love basically the whole ultimatum. It's like, oh, if he loses the belt, we're gone.
But he's not going to lose.
Yeah, exactly. Good. It was good. It was a great start. It was a semi-decent start with the traditional Kurt Angle, hello. Enjoy the show. And now you just go, all of a sudden, stuff the adrenaline.
Yeah. And yeah, that was just really caught it off guard for me too. Just like, okay, we're kicking things off fast here. Okay, I'm locked in. All right. So yeah, that happened, and then we also got the Hardys defeating the Club, which, again, it's another Hardy Boys match. But I'm not sure if you've been picking up on this, but it looks like they're using their different terminology again. They're using the awoken a lot, and then they're just. This is really looking like they're doing something here. The question I've got for you guys is this just sort of a one-off, or is this something they're doing to sort of bring the Broken Hardys to WWE just as Awoken Hardys or Woken Matt or something like that?
Here's my problem with this whole segment and this whole little tag team situation going on between the Hardys, the Club, and the Revival. Okay. They're all talking about fighting for the number one contendership, right? They're all talking about being number one contenders and all that. It doesn't matter at this point because they're not going to be any of the three of them because of what happened later on in the night. That telegraphed what the tag team title match is going to be for SummerSlam. These three teams are in a holding pattern. So for me, okay, these segments are pointless. And for me personally, these segments don't matter because they're not doing anything for the bigger picture going into SummerSlam. It's just a holding pattern. Three teams fighting each other for a month. That I like. The Revival did a good job on commentary, good heel commentary. For me, the Hardys were just the Hardys. Whether they're using new terminology or not, nothing really changed. It's the same. Even in the fight up on the ramp with the three teams and them doing it's still typical Hardys. There's nothing broken or woken or awoken or whatever they're doing. They're saying new things on commentary about them, but I'm not seeing anything from the Hardys that are showing me that they're trying to do anything different, bringing anything different into the characters. And the problem with this segment is the Revival are all talking about being number one contenders. None of these three teams are going to be in the title picture for SummerSlam. So these segments, for me, are just, oh, they're cool. These guys are getting on TV. It's not really doing anything for the big picture for me. It's just something to watch.
I wouldn't fully go that it's completely pointless. Like, yes, it's getting them TV time. But I think that's the whole point of this. Yes, we'll talk about what the title match is going to be for SummerSlam later, but at least we actually are getting these guys on our TV. They're getting exposure. Like the Revival, yeah, for us, the hardcore crowd, they are, like, we know who they are. We know what they're about. But for the mainstream audience, they don't really know that much about the Revival or anything like that. And this is giving them good exposure, especially going after established veterans like the Hardys and somewhat established veterans, somewhat with the club.
Yeah,
at least I don't care that they're not going for the tag team titles right now, but I am glad that they are still getting the exposure. It's expanding a tag team division, which we've talked about in the past many times, that it was very, very thin, at least because it's most of the time just the tag team title match and nothing else. At least there is now something else for us to discuss with it, and I'm all for it. Do I see, like, I have seen the Awoken hinting that they're going for it, but it look like that's what they're going for since, Impact, whatever, Global Impact Wrestling, I don't know.
Global Impact Wrestling Force.
Sure. Since they're being douchebags of this whole legalization with a broken gimmick. So they're trying to do something to fill in that void.
Here's my thing with that. Okay, it took them long enough. I mean, like, really? You don't have broken. You couldn't have changed it
sooner.
It's like a week after WrestleMania. You could have.
Well, it looks like you could have used
a different. You could have used a different word and just stuck it in there, and there you go. That's it. But,
well, it's not just the word. It's the mannerisms. It's the charisma. Well, yeah. It's all that stuff.
Yeah, but you could have had that character right away. But WWE is like, we have to bring them back and showcase them the way they were, and then you really don't. You really don't. Like, you did WrestleMania, you did that, and it was awesome. Okay, now I'm not invested in the Hardys anymore. I'm really not. You killed it for me because you kept them as the WWE Hardys for too long. Yeah, the big winners